Hi, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulman Rahim here. Rest of the covenant. Brothers and sisters, the apocalypse has started. But you don't know what the apocalypse is. You don't recognize it, so you wouldn't know it started. But it has started. And it's all about you, brothers and sisters. The original black folks out there, it's all about you, but you don't realize it. I'm going to try to bring you up to speed. I'm trying to paint a whole picture. Not in excruciating detail, but the general picture. So you can see you are what's driving this whole situation. Let's go back a few years, about 2,000 years. You know, the one they call Jesus. Well, he came in contact with the people who call themselves Jews. He denounced them. He said, no, you're not Jews. He said, you're not the seed of Abraham. Your father's the devil. He said, you do his works. Now keep that in mind. Know them by their works. Not what they say, by their works. Right? Their works. So as a result of that, he called them out. And so they had him killed, according to the Bible. Had him killed. Because he said, no, you're fake. He said it back there. He said, you're fake. You're not real. And the book he left behind, he doubles down because he says, those who call themselves Jews are not. They're synagogue of Satan. And this is the Revelations. This is the book that Christians claim to believe in. But they denounce Jesus, who the Christians call their God. They did. Jesus denounced them. And as a result, they had him killed. So you have a conflict right there. So wait. Let me so I can understand this now. Jesus, who I say is God, or Son of God, or however you want to call it, said those people that say they're Jews, they're not. They're synagogue of Satan. They're liars. And know them by their works. And they had our God killed, crucified. So why am I supporting them? Because he said, they're not chosen people, not God's chosen people. Oh, no, excuse me. They are God's chosen people. What God are you talking about? Satan. Those people that call themselves Jews, they're Satan's. They are his chosen people. Because they do his works, don't they? That's what he said. Jesus said, your father's the devil. He said, you do the works he do. So what are the works of Christians? What has been the works of Christians for the last 500 years? Who stole this land? Christians. Who killed off the natives, people here? The Christians. Who committed mass genocide? The Christians. Who dragged us over here? The Christians. Who beat us and tortured us for 400 years? Christians. Terrorized us 24/7? The Christians. Who raped our women? Christians. Wasn't Buddhists, wasn't Hindus, it was Christians. So was Jesus lying? I mean, there's evidence right there. See? That's what he said. And are those the works of Satan? See? So that's what he said. He warned you. So why these people walk around claiming they represent Jesus, backing the people that killed that Jesus, that Jesus denounced? You have to ask yourself that question. Because they say, well, they're God's chosen. Oh, yeah, they are God's chosen people. The God of this world, Satan. They are his chosen people because they do his works. They do his works. So they're his chosen people. Right? Okay. So now the people that believe in Jesus, they was offended by that. And plus, they started, right, echoing Jesus' teachings and following, so to speak. That's what calls them Christians, because they call them Christ, so Christian mean the followers of Christ, right? Even though that's not quite right, but anyway, that's what they call themselves. right? But we don't get confused here. Catholicism and Christianity is two different things. The Christianity that you know, the so-called Protestants, that came 500 years ago. The Catholics had it for about 1,500 years, right? From 2,000 years ago to 500 years ago, the Catholic Church. Anyway, so, and the Christians, they kept getting, they kept resisting, they got stronger, and they got the upper hand. They got the upper hand, right? They start persecuting those who could crucify our Lord. They was hating the Jews. Because they said, you crucify, see, I mean, that's the way they had it back then, because that's why they was doing it, because they was following what the scripture says. So the Jews, for 1,000 years, you see, well, actually, more than that, but well, I guess 1,500 years. Well, let put it like this way: the Christians started persecuting the Jews, and so when Prophet Muhammad came along, right, the Jews fled to Islam because they understand Islam at that time was they wasn't familiar with the Bible, so the Jews told them they was Jews, so the Muslims at the time. I didn't say Prophet Muhammad accepted that, but the Jews at the time accepted that because the Jews during Prophet Muhammad's time fought against the Prophet. So again, they fought against the Prophet. But after the Prophet's demise, right, they ran, the ones in Europe ran into Arabia, getting away from the Christians who were persecuting them, trying to eradicate them. So they found, and most of them end up in Spain, which didn't go through the Dark Age like the rest of Europe did, because the Moors, which were black Africans, if you want to call it that way, who were Muslim, they were black, dark, blacker than me. They controlled Spain for about 700 years, and they call that and the Jews fled to Spain, trying to get away from the Christians, the European Christian that was eradicating and persecuting them. And they found sanctuary in Spain. The Moors protected them. Moors is another word for black in Spanish. That's what Spanish call them, the Moors. Right? But supposedly they came out of Morocco. Anyway, but they came out of Northwest Africa. So you follow me so far? So here we go. Go back to the beginning, right? Jesus denounced them, said, no, you're fake. Had him killed, right? And then they persecuted his followers. Jews persecuted his followers, and eventually they kept on until they got the upper hand under Constantine. That's another story together, right? They got the upper hand, and they started to table, and they started persecuting the Jews. And so the Jews were persecuted all over Europe, and they found refuge under Muslim rule, because they said, remember the Muslims, they was in the Quran, and they didn't understand it, but they wasn't familiar with the Bible, where Jesus actually outright denounced them. So they say, we're Jews, so they accepted that. So they protect them. They say they're people of the book, so they protect them. So they found protection all up to 500 years ago. Right? And then after the Dark Ages, that's another story that they're lying to you about. First of all, they lied to you about, Jews lying about their identity. And then they lied to you about history, because chapter 20 in Revelations is talking about European history. That's the so-called Dark Ages. 1,000 years, that was them in the pit, held down by the resurrected Abrahamic Islamic empire that Prophet Muhammad resurrected. He did not build Mecca, he did not build a Kaaba, he did not start Ramadan, all that stuff. All that stuff was already in place. He just resurrected because they had descended into the idolatry. These are facts. Okay. So, they accepted them as who they said they were, Jews. But Jesus already announced that he'll call them out. Okay. So in chapter 20, that was deception, right? That's Gog and Magog will be two European world powers that rule for a season, the whole world. There's only been two world powers that deceived the whole world. Excuse me, just been two world powers. Only two, not forget about European or Caucasian or Orient or anything. There's only been two world powers that you know of in all your history. That's America and Britain, period. Genghis Khan, that's not a world power, there was a regional power or continental power. Right? The Mongols, Napoleon, that was again a continental power. Right? Alexander the Great, intercontinental, because I think he went across continents. But there was no world power until Britain came along, and they said the sun never set on the British Empire. That was the first empire, world empire. And Gog and Magog, as it says in chapter 20, and Magog means the mother of Gog, Magog. And that's where Magog is Britain, and God came out of there, America. There was only two world empires, so you can't. But they lied because they lied to you about that, because if they told you that was world history, that European history, then you'd be able to identify who they are. You identify who Gog is and Magog. You identify who the Jews. People say Jews. You realize they're false. They're fake. They're Satan. They call them Satan there. So that's why they hide that from you, because all of a sudden you. But if you just use that simple principle that Jesus said, knowing by their works, you would know who they are. He said, knowing by their works. Look at their works. Are they doing the works of Satan? Doing the works of Jesus? Doing the works of who? What works? And what are the works they're doing? What's the work? What had been the works of Christians for the last 500 years? Tell me, where the good at? Oh, they came with democracy. That's not a work. That's an idea. They followed through anyway. How do you know it's a good idea? They didn't follow through anyway. They came with capitalism. Really? What's capitalism? Is slavery by definition. Minimum overhead, maximum profit. So if you can get somebody to work for nothing, that means you make maximum profit. That's the ideal. And if you look up capitalism, the idea of capitalism was fueled by slavery itself. That's the idea that came up. Slavery, so-called slavery, what you call a Holocaust, was fuel the concept of capitalism, because that's what it was all about. Because actually, the currency during that time was the slaves themselves. Gold wasn't the currency. A slave was the means of finance. Wall Street. Wall Street was named Wall Street because it was a slave trading area where they lined the slaves up against the wall. Look it up and take my word for it. They tell, oh, slaves are in the South. No, it was all over. What's her name? Harriet Tubman? Look what she was. She was a slave in New York. See, all these days they lie to you about everything. Slave was 100% coast to coast in America. Coast to northwest, east, north, south, east, west. Covered all of America. And plus, America being a democracy, if it was just in the South, the majority of the people lived in the North. So they could have voted it down, couldn't they? Couldn't they vote it out? They didn't want it? I mean, you still say Constitution still say you're 3/5 human. How come they never moved that out? How come Obama didn't take it out? It's still in the Constitution that you're 3/5 human. That means you're not human. If you're 3/5 human, you're not human. That's in the Constitution of the United States. Oh, that's in the okay. Well, anyway, you understand? So that's why I say we deceived the whole world, so you wouldn't know who they were. That's Gog and Magog. So you got this so far, right? You got Gog and Magog will come out and see the whole world, right? And that's when, after 1,000 years, so we're in that phase now, the 500-year period of Gog and Magog, right? It's Satan, right? That's the one who said the Jews, because he said, no, you're the synagogue of Satan. So he said that God is Satan. So we got God. I mean, that's identified right there. Based on what Jesus said, knowing by their works, right? So anyway, they found refuge. Islamic countries, and then 500 years ago, right, the so-called Christians, right, they was under the control of the Catholic Church, Catholicism. They call it Catholic. They didn't call it Christianity. They called it Catholicism. They was under control of that, And they broke free. I think Britain was the first one, Magog, the first one to break free from that. Started Protestant religion, broke away from the Pope, and that's the modern form of Christianity. And they went out and covered the whole planet that they didn't even know about before that. Right? Okay. And then to make cut to the chase here, right? They came and took America, took it by force, spread disease all over the planet. They killed majority of people that killed America were just from the common cold because their love of dogs and carrying on. Syphilis, herpes, gonorrhea, all that stuff come from this made with animals. And Native Americans never had a common cold that everybody could know. They was dying from it because they never had anything like that before. So-called common cold. And I've done the research, but unless I'm wrong, dogs catch colds. So you mess around, after a while, the germ pass over, and then you got it into the human population. I haven't had a cold in years, but every time I used to get a cold, I used to get mad because I say, because these devils love these dogs, I gotta suffer the cold. Okay? And you could easily get rid of colds, but see, you have to get rid of dogs first, because all you gotta do is do what they call it, quarantine. See, because cold doesn't come from cold weather; it comes from a virus or a germ. I'm not sure exactly which one is a little different between the two. So what you do is you put people on the island. You don't have to put any dogs there, and then anybody catch a cold, you isolate them, quarantine them from the ones that don't have it, and you do that for a couple of times after a while, right? Because they get well, they got rid of the cold. So you isolate the cold, tell them until it's gone. Then that's it. Nobody can get it anymore because it's gone. They could do that, but they won't do it because then if you introduce dogs back in, what's the point? You got to get rid of dogs before you do that. Same thing with AIDS. It was first discovered in San Francisco among the LGBTQ, whatever you call it. The so-called Turkish baths in San Francisco. They was going down to Haiti and paying those little boys down there $2 and $3 was a lot of money because they keep that place under sanction and carrying on. They had sex with them. All kinds of unnatural sex. That's what they was doing. They was doing the same thing in Cuba before the Castro kicked their ass out. They don't tell you that part either. And that's how AIDS got it. It didn't come from Africa. Everything bad they say comes out of Africa. But how come they're always in Africa all the time? Everything bad comes out of there. Because everything good is there. Everything good is there. All the gold, silver, minerals, and everything else. So if it's so bad, Africa's so bad, why you keep going taking stuff? Why are you taking the people? You can get money to buy a car. You can buy a broken down car. You can buy a broken down horse, a broken down mule. No, you get a healthy one, a strong one. And we're the strongest people on the planet. And smartest people on the planet. That's why it got us. Anyway, move on. So, they spread disease, and then, but they didn't know what to do. See, because Europe was a shithole. It was a shithole. See, because they couldn't produce anything. See, that's why you see in the scripture all the time. Their kings and stuff don't know what's happening. Then the prophet got to come and tell them what to do. Same thing with Nebuchadnezzar. Same thing with Belshazzar. Same thing with Pharaoh. With Joseph. They'll come and say, "Hey, get them out their mess," because that's us. But let's move on. So they over here, they took the country. But they, because they had blight in Ireland, nothing would grow. Europe was a shit house. I mean, they had nothing there because they don't know how to. They don't have the ability to produce anything. They have to take from other people. Europe wasn't producing anything, and they didn't have the technology to build anything. They had a mind to do it. See, we're the creative force. So they was going all over the world. They went to Marco Polo. That's how they learned about porcelain and gunpowder and stuff. They got that from China. You know, they got their calculus and stuff from India. They won't tell you that part. They ain't come that stuff. They got that from India. And their astronomy they got from South America, from the Aztecs and Incas. And some of them from Egypt too. So they got this stuff from. Then they come up with this stuff. And they got stuff from Timbuktu. That was in Africa. Then they burned it down because they didn't want people to realize that was us. We had the best university in the world. In Timbuktu. But they tear it down because Africans don't have no universities. They run around with bones in their butt and stick out their nose and carrying on. So they had to keep that idea going when it was nothing like that. See, when you was in Africa, before you came over here, you didn't need Social Security. You didn't need a pension. You didn't need nursery homes, right? You didn't work. You didn't need a job. You wasn't employed. And you was happy, you had plenty of food, you spent all the time with your family, what you call a tribe, right? You was taken care of from cradle to grave, and you worked, you did what you like to do. So if you like to farm, you got to help farming. You spent all the time with your family. We had music. Oh, you think we just had music? We come over here? We create. Who's the world bumping to? They bump into Beethoven and Bach, or they bump into Michael and what's his name? Prince and people like, you know what I'm saying? Beyonce and all those folks. They ain't right. You don't see jumping and bumping into Beethoven and Bach. The whole world is rocking. It's the music that come out of here from us. That the people that call themselves Jews are profit from it. They make the money off of it. You create it. They make the money off of it. That's the whole story. Anyway, they come over here, and remember, Europe was a shithole. They had to go all over the place. They didn't take baths. Would you imagine going your whole life without taking a bath? Your entire life without taking a bath. They thought it was something wrong with taking a bath. They didn't have flush toilets and stuff like that. Some of you look up awning, A-W-N-I-N-G, awning. You don't see them anymore. It just look like an umbrella that comes out, like a flat umbrella that comes out of the store that when you walk down the street. It's like keep you from getting rained on or whatever. You don't see them anymore. You see them, when I was growing up, you see them all the time. I guess somebody told where they came from. But that came up from Europe. Because they had like first and second story apartments where people lived there. And people do their business in a bowl. They throw it out the window. Yep. That's why there's so much disease and everything up there. When they had all that disease, the Black Plague, all that kind of stuff, it was only in Europe. That stuff wasn't in Africa. It wasn't in Asia. It was only in Europe. All those Black Plagues and stuff, 2,000 year period, all that stuff was isolated to Europe. They didn't take baths. Let's talk out the window. If there was no awning there, then you got to splash the Holy Ghost. Boom. It was filthy and dirty and nasty. They didn't take baths. And where they got to take baths from? They got it from the Moors again, from the Muslims. They told them to take baths. Still couldn't cure them dogs, though. So they spread disease all over the world. That's the works. Okay, so that's why they went out looking for everything. Because if all this was great, how could they have democracy, capitalism, all that good stuff? How come they make that stuff happen in Europe? Because there's a shithole there. So they came out and they got these ideas from all over the place. They came out, they started taking people's land because they had blight, they couldn't grow anything, they were starving. They was constantly fighting with each other. Had caste system and everything. It was all, they came out and got these ideas from other people. In fact, democracy itself, the basic idea they got out of Africa. They distorted it, but what happened is you had a tribe, and once you got a certain age, you sit on the council. Elder was the one sitting on the council. They would tell, because they got experience and everything, so the tribe listened to them. Nobody voted, right? Voted for those guys. They just got you. You got what, 60 years old, whatever. You was on the council because you take your experience, and then the council would get together. And they would vote amongst themselves. So they have an idea. They say, okay, let's talk about it, and they'll come to some kind of consensus. They'll tell the tribe because the tribe will follow the elders. See, that's the basic idea, but they call it democracy. Well, it's not quite, but that's they got the idea from. At any rate, they got us all over the place because they went out looking for gold. They call them conquistadors, right? And they come out looking for gold because they had nothing. Instead, they had nothing. So then, America's about to fall apart because the Indians knew how to take care of it. Not the Indians, but the natives knew how to take care of it. They didn't know how to do it. So now everything start messing everything up because America, man, they say, they tell you that there was so much fish in the lake, you didn't have to go fishing. You just go there, could be so much in there, be jumping up, just grab one and jump up out of the water. It was so rich compared to Europe. And so they took it and killed off the natives, but then they didn't know how to farm it and anything else. Right? So then they got the idea to go get Africans. You see? And I can tell you a lot of details about that, but I'm not going to right now. They brought Africans over and Africans saved their ass. Right? Even though they enslaved them and beat them and tortured them and terrorized them. Because remember, they enslaved us, what they call slavery. It's more than, if you look up slavery doesn't include rape, sodomization, murder, hanging. That's not part of, that's not part of slavery. Slavery don't have no definitions. That's not, right? They call it slavery. That's really real downplayed, really a big whitewash. What they did was way far more than slavery. That's why even the Abrahamic covenant said they would serve them and afflict. So the affliction is not part of service. Affliction is not part of slavery. Because they had slavery in Africa too. If they had this came after the Europeans came in, they didn't have that before. But they caused disagreements between them, and so if one tribe dominated another tribe, they take the people, but they didn't change the people, they didn't change their names, they didn't change their religion, they didn't change anything about it. They just put them to work. And after a while, they become part of the tribe. You see? They just hadn't made them work, that's all. They ain't raping nothing like that, because that's their nature. Anyway, so they brought us over, enslaved us. And it takes terror to maintain a system like that. Say, America's a terrorist nation. It terrorized us for over 40 years. So now some of you want to just forgive them. Or you want to forgive them. Hmm? That's your error. When a dog bites you, forgive him. Next time he make sure he bites you. He make sure next time he bites you, he's gonna make it fatal. If you're that stupid. Anyway, that's what happened. So they enslaved us. Right? Now, remember, they were still at odds with the Jews during this time. But Jews, because they claimed themselves they were Jews, and because they've been oppressed, they stuck together. So they always had control of money, large amounts of money. So they actually, to get the pressure off them, they actually participated in the slave trade. They financed it. This is a fact. And the book of Daniel tells you that. Because it said the tree, that's us, was bound by brass and iron. If you understand that statue, the statue is made of gold, that's original people, and then silver. Right? Now watch how it goes. Gold, then silver, then brass, then iron. Ask yourself, if you polish brass up real good, when you could you see somebody make it think it was gold? If you brass shot silver iron real good, couldn't you fool somebody make it think it's silver? Because that silverware you got is really iron. Maybe still, but it ain't silver. You call it silverware then. I got silver. It's not silver. If this I build your house to get all your silver, I pay you for it. If it's really silver, because you didn't pay the price for it. So I said they were both behind us, but they don't want you to know it. 'Cause they said, oh, we had nothing to do with that. No, they were slave owners too, and they were some of the most vicious slave owners. But remember, again, they masquerading as and they told Jesus says no. But he told him he told him know the truth, and truth will make you free. He said, what you mean we be free? We ain't been bound. See, they say right there, we never been in this. Remember, this is 2,000 years after they're supposed to have been bound in Egypt. And Scripture said when real Israel went into bondage, they would go on ships. You don't need a ship to go from where they claimed it was in Jerusalem into Egypt. I mean, going from Jerusalem to Egypt was like going from New York to Canada. You don't need a ship for that. Or going from Jersey to New York, you don't need a ship for that. See? And he said, we never been in bondage to anybody. So they been saying right there, because that's what happened would have happened to see Abraham. They said no happened to them. Right? So they pretending to be somebody they're not. Because they had the sealed Bible, and the sealed Bible, you know, it's sealed so that way they misinterpret it. So they finance it. So they have us over here, right? So everything is done now. They're the world powers, God can make God. They have real Israel here. Because we came over here on ships, they said we'd be here 40 years. They got us all locked down. They got our identity, right? But they still oppress. They still fight with each other. Christians and Jews still fight with each other. This fight continues, right? The Jews just had enough money in some cases to buy them off, but they still. And then it culminated in the 30s, where the Christians finally had them isolated up in Germany, and they called it the Final Solution. They was going to get rid of all of them. Finally, they could find it called the Final Solution. Why they call it the Final Solution? Because that's something they've been fighting, trying to solve for 2,000 years. And they don't tell the whole truth about that. Because they said, well, they just wanted to get rid of them. They wanted to get rid of them, but what pushed it over edge was back in World War I, right? Remember, the Jews were being oppressed in Europe, right? And it was being oppressed. Excuse me. They'd been oppressed. And Germany was at war with Britain, World War I. And Britain wasn't doing too good. So they went to the German Jews in Germany, and said, because they was being oppressed, they wanted to find some way. I said, look, we'll give you I think called the Balfour Agreement. We'll give you your own homeland. That's the beginning of the so-called Zionist movement. We give you a own homeland if you work with us. In other words, betray your country. These were German Jews. Betray your country. Betray your country. Help us win this war. And we'll say we'll because they had control of Jerusalem at that time. The British did, and we'll take and we'll give you control of that, so you have your own land. And so some Jews went along with that. They betrayed. Germany lost the war. It was a basket case. Hitler was a soldier during that war. He saw what happened. It was a basket case. They put all kinds of reparations on Germany. Germany was a basket case. It was terrible. The economy was a mess. It got so bad that, like, I'm just getting an idea. Like say if you was in America, right? The same a similar situation where a loaf of bread would cost you $10,000. Well, how can you do that? Because the money inflation was going crazy, right? So you was working and it got so bad that it was like going on an hourly basis. So like I said, if you went to work in the morning, right, at 8 o'clock, I said a loaf of bread was worth $10,000. By noon, it was worth $20,000. This is actual fact. So what they did was, the Germans said, you got to pay me every hour. They wanted their check. They didn't want to wait till the end of the week. They wanted a check every hour. And they had to put money in wheelbarrows. right? Because so much money to buy, and it was this mess. That's how Hitler came to power. And he wrote this book called Mein Kampf, and you can get that book. In that book, he told the Jews what he's going to do to them for what they did. They don't tell you that part, because if somebody did that to America, some citizens they would do them. They would burn them up too. Every country would. So they act like they was just they was doing it. No, it was betrayal. They betrayed their country, and so Hitler said he was going to get them back. He told them before he came into power. He wrote a book called Mein Kampf. I think it means my battle in German. And said that's what he's going to do if he ever came to power. And he knew it. Excuse me. So that's the story. So they came close to annihilate him. And America was on board because one of the top priests in America at the time, he was the biggest Graham. And he was totally so-called anti-Semitic, but you can't be anti-Semitic because they're not Semitic. The Arabs are Semitic. And actually, we are Semitic. Right? Because we came from Abraham. That's all stored together. So you say anti-Semite. They're the ones anti-Semite. So you got everything turned upside down backwards. Okay. So they're going to get rid of them. And then along comes this little man called Elijah Muhammad. And he meets someone, and he said, oh man, that's God. And God told me, hold on, brother, just 1 second here. He said, God told me about the Abrahamic covenant, and that us in America, because we got 40 years here, we came over here on ships, like it says, and we trusted Abraham. And those people, like Jesus said, are false. They pretend to be us. Uh-oh. That was a problem, because people was listening. Black folks started listening, because at that time black folks had no vision, and people without vision perish. And a vision unites people. Visions unite people. That's one of the reasons why you give vision. Vision unites people, because everybody look at the same thing, that pulls them together, right? The vision is, right? Everybody says the same thing. Maybe they're thinking the same way. Maybe have different perspectives, but they're still thinking on that. They're still following that star. So if they can follow that, if they all follow the same star, it's going to lead them to the same place. That's what visions do. Unite people. And they didn't want us united. They want us like we were. Broken, not knowing who we were. They destroyed us 100%. Because when you hate something, you change it. You don't change things you love. You change things you hate. And the more you hate it, the more you change it. Either get rid of it, that's your last option, or you change it. That's what you do, something you hate. Somebody gives you something you hate, you want to change it, or you want to get rid of it. So, then they change us 100%. 100%. Name, culture, land, everything. Religion, everything. To be as they want us to be. As long as you be as they want you to be, then you're a good nigga. You're good, you're okay. So you fist bumping, hey, how you doing? Good morning, all this stuff, right? But change your name, try to get your name back. Try to get your religion back. Try to speak the truth about you, and all of a sudden they don't want you around no more. But just being you. Well, how can they don't like you now? See? Because they hate who you are. They want you to be like them. They think you should be like them. Then you're civilized. You be like them. But what's the cost? How to make us like them? Rape, murder, prison, imprisonment, terrorize? You heard stuff about Ali, Muhammad Ali? When he was castrated, they loved him. Oh, the white folks loved him. He was, man, Muhammad Ali, man, sting like a fight. What do you call it? Fight like a butterfly, sting like a fly, like a butterfly, sting like a bee, whatever. Right? Yeah, they loved him. Cassius Clay, man, he loved him. In fact, he had this consortium that was behind him was financing him. It was all, I'm not sure. It was cut some. I'm not sure they was using that. But anyway, the point is, they loved him. And then when he changed his name to Ali, they hated him. They came after, they tried to put him in jail, they took his license away, did everything to him. He said he couldn't fight anything. Because he's trying to claim his own. So I tell you, they hate you if you try to be yourself. They hate him. He said he made more money after that because when he had a fight, he said the stadium be overflowing because white folks would come there and they'd be standing outside because they just wanted to be a witness to see his ass get kicked. They hate him so much. But see, you don't get that. They still hate you. They hate you. See? When they see, okay, well, let me put it another way. They hate you. They'll only get along with you if you be other than yourself, like them. That means they hate you because they don't see you. They see what they made, created from you. That's where they fist bump. That's where, hey, how you doing, bro? And that stuff too. They're creation. But if you revert back to yourself, they hate. They don't want you that. They want you. They like because you being what they want you to be, which is not who you really are. So therefore, you're never going to be happy. How can you be happy being something other than yourself? So you have to be like them to get along with them. But being like them is, you got sugar, you got diabetes, you got high blood pressure, and everything else. Because you're trying to be, because you're being other than yourself to get along with them. Because they hate you. You start making yourself anything, you're in jail, you're dead, you're shot, you're homeless, everything else. Because that's the pressure to get you back to being a good Christian, good nigger. Charles Jackson. See? Whoopi Goldberg. Ain't nobody in Africa that name. Goldberg is a Jewish name anyway. See? So that tells you right there. They hate you. They don't like you. They hate who you are. What they get along with is what they create you into. Anyway, so Elijah comes along and says, oh, we can't have that vision. So all of a sudden, remember, at this time, they finally decided to just get rid of these people calling themselves Jews. They was burning them up. And everybody was on board with it. Like I said, one of the major preachers in America, I can't think what his name was, he was totally what they call anti-Semitic. And they had a Nazi movement here in America. It was very, I think it was I think the main office was in Chicago. I can't, what's the name of that place? I can't. So that's why America couldn't get a war with Germany, because nobody wanted to go to war with Germany. They didn't care about them burning people up. So he had to trick you into war. Because they knew it was burning up. And they didn't go in, and they knew they was burning up, knew where the concentration camps were, they knew what was happening, and they didn't go and bomb those camps and anything, because the only thing as far as they're concerned, Hitler did wrong is he didn't finish the job. And this is the attitude towards them, towards each other. They hated each other. But the Christians had the upper hand. And so what happened? When he said that, then all of a sudden they fell in love with the Jews. Oh man, after 2,000 years, they fell in love with them. Oh, so we best buddies, man. Let's get married. You see? Let's get married. And they set falsehoods up in 1948 because of what Elijah Muhammad was saying. Stop that vision. No, see, that's got to be them. See, they followed the vision. See? Like Jesus, God said they're going to come home. He's going to bring them from all over the planet back home and everything else. But they don't tell you, if you read Abraham Covenant, Jerusalem is not the promised land. Arabia is, between the Euphrates and the river of Egypt. Look on the map, that's Arabia. See, that's a lie right there. See, if you examine this stuff, it's all big lies. They couldn't take Arabia because they needed Arabia because at that time America was totally dependent upon Arabian oil. So they didn't want to fight with them, so they would give you Jerusalem. And at that time, Britain had pretty much control of the Middle East. I'm not sure how much control they had of Arabia at the time. But anyway, Roosevelt went over there and made an agreement with them about the oil thing. They said called a petrodollar. That's another story together. But they did not even in the Promised Land. The Promised Land was Arabia. But they said, no, see, return. to kill us, because they know we don't read anyway. They said if you want to hide anything from a nigga, just put it in a book. Because if you look at it, they say that couldn't be them because they supposed to be in Arabia. But that's, hold on. We're going to get to that in a minute. So they set him up, destroy that vision. And then along come Martin Luther King and meet Elijah Muhammad. A few years later, he tells him about it. He said, oh yeah, I can handle that. I can deal with that. So he goes out and get a promised land speech about going home, restoring that vision, and he was dead the next day. Ken, have you had that vision? See, I'm telling you, all that's going in the world is about you. So that's why they have to follow Israel no matter what, because they have to be that false light that's got you blind. It's like, the false light that got light can blind you. That false light that got you blind because you think that's them. So you back to being nobody again. You don't have a vision. Our people don't have a vision. Ask Farrakhan. What vision? See, that's one thing right there. That tells you something about Farrakhan. What vision is he giving you? Is he giving you a vision? So why you follow somebody that doesn't give you a vision? Elijah Muhammad gave you a vision. What vision did Farrakhan give you? You want to get 6 states? Reparations? What's his vision? You ain't going home. He's not giving Abrahamic covenant. So what's the vision he giving you? Aside from you out there and work for the devil and giving money made him rich. What vision is he giving you? You want to get 6 days? Well, hey, he's supposed to be on his deathbed now. He's supposed to take you home, get you across the river. Unless he's going to have a run to the fountain of youth. And he ain't going to do any of that, is he? So all lies right there. But what's the vision of following him? What's the benefit? Tell me. What's the benefit of following Farrakhan? You're not getting a vision. So what's the benefit? Tell me what's the benefit of following him. Well, you got friends in there, but what's the benefit specifically of following Farrakhan? He's not producing anything. No homes, like Elijah Muhammad did, bank, grocery store. He didn't produce any of that stuff. You don't work for the Nation of Islam. You work for the devils and take that money and give it to him. So what benefit is there to be with him? What? No vision, anything. Because he's supposed to help. See, Elijah Muhammad told you about it. He's been all this time telling you he's calling God a liar. Elijah Muhammad a liar. He said, ain't no vision. You ain't going anywhere. So he's still your vision, but he's part of this process. So now you understand why America has to fall back of false Israel and say, why everybody can't understand it? Why are so loyal to false Israel? Why are so loyal to them? Why are you back? Because they got to maintain their false vision. Because they don't want us to unite. Unite, that'd be a problem for them. And we get to go to the civil aspect of it in a minute. You understand what I'm saying, brother? Now see how it fits in with you? That's why I got Backman over. But remember now, false Israel and America still, the Christians and Jews still at each other's throat. They still hate each other. But it's like two brothers, they hate each other, right? But somebody else come in the neighborhood and dislike both. So they unite to take care of that person. They still hate each other, but that person ain't in the family. So they unite to take care of somebody outside the family. Then if they get rid of that person, then they start fighting with each other again. They unite because they're family against the stranger. I know you're familiar with that idea, right? So we're the stranger. And both of them are lies. One called a spiritual Abraham, one called a seed Abraham, and both lying. Because what's the works of both of them? What's the works of America? What's the works of Israel and false Israel? What are they doing right now? What's their work? The Bible says no one by their works. So tell me, whose works are they doing? Whose works are they doing? Killing women, children, innocent women, children, taking the land. Whose works are they doing? See, they don't want to say that part. Oh, no, ain't no, nothing. Nobody works. You understand? So, Farrakhan, he sent in after Elijah departs to make sure that vision is still destroyed. They actually destroyed the Nation of Islam, destroyed it. And the government said, we want this, and they gave them everything the government asked for. You know? Stop preaching the separation, probably going, leaving, right? And all that kind of stop preaching that they're devils. Give them everything they asked for. You understand? So he's part of it. So understand, so that's why they're all in They got to fight because we cannot have that vision because it will unite us. And if you unite us, then they're in trouble. So that's where we are, right? Okay. That's where we are in time. Elijah's gone. Right? They set false Israel because of Elijah. Right? The neutralize he's saying. They sent Farrakhan in, right? They go ahead and put the nails in the coffin. But he's pretty much done. So that's where we are right now. But we're to Abraham. And it says that a messenger of covenant would come and you identify him by credentials that no one could duplicate. See, all this stuff is right there, brothers and sisters, but they do everything they can to keep from seeing it. You have good credentials that no one could duplicate, so nobody could fake it. That means he would break the seals, and you don't know anyone who has broken the seals. Show them to me. I'd like to see them. You know who broke the seals? That means the messenger of covenant, if that person had broken seals, that means they're frauds, they're liars. That's his credential, so you wouldn't know. It said, nobody, heaven, earth, or under earth, so that means it would be no mistake. The person that broke those seals, another thing too, it tell you he would also be the same, he'd be conceived the same time false Israel conceived in 1948. Because it tell you when he conceived in the west, because a star would rise in the east. So if you say something rose in the east, that means you had to be in the west to see something that rose in the east. I mean, is that too hard to accomplish? He'd be born amongst the cattle. Jersey cattle. Messenger of Newark. But anyway, he'd be born in the east, and there'd be a rise star, and that's Star of David. They rose, they same age. That's the secondary credential. But the primary credential is, unless you find somebody, you don't take word for it. If you find anybody that they said, and they're talking, and they have broken the seals, you should be listening to them. Because they don't know what it means. They don't know what the scriptures mean. They don't know any of that. Because it says it's under seal. And unless you broke it, it says you couldn't peep it, you couldn't see anything, you couldn't make anything out of it unless you broke those seals. So if you had broken seals, anything you say is guessing. Elijah Muhammad, he was guessing too. He said he thought certain things he was wrong. But he was a guess, he didn't know. He had the lessons he had what Master Muhammad gave him, but Master Muhammad didn't give him the scripture, the angel, that's the Arabic word for gospel. That's the gospel's called Revelations. You understand, brother and sister? That's where we are in time right now. Okay. So the messenger will come, but they reject them. See? Not the ones seeking them. They were seeking them, but the reason because they hid him from Farrakhan. He knew who he was. It tells you right there in Mark. He knew who he was. Says, what's your name? My name's Legion. Louis Eugene Brown. He said, what do you want here, son of the Most High? So he knew he was. He was keeping it from them because his job was, it tells you right there in Mark. He knew. Legion knew who Messenger of Covenant is. He knew, but he kept it to himself. Because he said, where you messing my thing for? Because he was waking the people up and giving their mind back. And he said, hey man, what you messing my thing for? That's where we are right now. So what does that mean? Okay, what it means is that at that time, right, there'd be a war broke out in heaven. Now heaven is the Middle East. Because it tells you, it says, men's heart be failing for fear those things come upon earth, for the powers of heaven be shaken. Now if they're on the earth like you think, on the planet earth, how in the hell do they know what's happening in heaven? How would they know? So that's what you think. That's not what we're talking about. Earth represents European countries, if you understand the scriptures. It's still, heaven's meant to represent the Middle East. Right? That's where star would rise. Same thing, so they'd be the same age. So by the conception date, Messenger could be 77, false Israel 77. See, at the same time, based on conception date. So that's another check. But my main check is seal, bringing seals. That explains everything, right? Okay. Now, this is where the dilemma comes in at. Now, I'm going to get to the heart of it. This is where the dilemma comes in at. Now, false Israel knows their fate. And they know that the only reason to stop killing them, put them up there, right? Because remember, they always go to American secrets and everything else, right? Only way they know, they say only because us, to keep us from realizing who we are. That's the only reason they did it. That's the only reason they need them. Because they still hate them, but they need them to suppress us. Keep that in mind. They need that for us to keep us from gaining vision, which would cause our unity. Right? So that's what they need it for. But they still hate them. And if you read Genesis, understand Genesis tells you the same thing. But I don't know, you can't see it that way because all you see is what they say there and you don't understand how to analyze it. Okay. So when you understand that, you understand what's going on here. Falsehoods are over there in a place that should not be, just like it says in Abomination of Desolation. Look up Abomination of Desolation. That's been going on for over a year now. So what? Going on 2 years now. That would precede the apocalypse. They won't call it Abomination of Desolation. Well, it's obvious where it is. It says it be in Jerusalem. Who controls Jerusalem? They do. Right? It says over there, it says, and you look up the word, it says, the uprisers were put down with great cruelty. Abominable. Ooh. I mean, how much clearer can you be? And they're in a place they should not be. They shouldn't be there. Remember, they're not real Jews. Anyway. So they know they're being used to keep us. They know the only reason why they keep using them, helping them, as long as they need us, need them to keep us blind to who we are. Keep in mind. Only reason they support them, because they know if they fail, then our eyes become open, and then we unite, right? We get revenge, as the Bible says, we leave them. If we leave them, we the gold and silver. So now they have no gold and silver anymore. They're back to living in shit again. So let me elaborate on that. Okay. So they have to keep that vision going. That's why I said, everybody said, why? Vision, Israel helping America? They hurt America and everything else. Because that's why, to keep us from getting that vision. And so they know that their plan is to get rid of us. But they can't maintain that forever because it takes money. And like I said, everybody gets the same amount of money, so therefore as a nation, it takes money for them to keep on keeping that lie going. And it costs more and more costly because part of the reason why they got is for us to keep getting in trouble over there. So they got to spend, look all the money they got to keep to maintain that. They get $3 billion a year just up front, and all the money and time and resources and everything they have to take. It costs a lot of money to keep that lie going. A lot of money, they can't afford it anymore. So they got to get rid of us. They get rid of them, but they can't afford them anymore. They got to keep them as long as they get rid of us, then they get rid of them. The Jews know this. So the only thing they can do is find a way to get leverage over Europeans before that happens, so they don't turn it back on them again and finally eradicate them, because they want them out off the planet. So the thing is, if they can take control of the Middle East, that's the lifeline to Europe and America, the oil and everything. So if they control that, and plus they got nuclear weapons, now they're on top. They're top dog. You understand? America can't touch them. They got nuclear weapons, and plus they got America by the Europe, because they have total control of the Middle East. That's the objective. See what they're doing over there? Look, all these countries they took out already. Why do you think they take these countries out? Because they want to control them. Why do you think they just take out Libya for nothing? They take out Iraq for nothing? Right? Syria for nothing? Because they want to control the whole region. And the only obstacle in their way right now is See, the only reason they took Mecca out, that would be, after if they took Iran out, Arabia would be next. Only reason because they'd be a fool to do that because they have every quote unquote Muslim in the world on their ass. They went out and attack Arabia. Mecca, all that hope. They have every Muslim on the planet, suicide and everything. Go. They say, well, we can't mess with that one. But it's not now. And the only thing that's stopping them from finishing off in the they got control of every country over there. The ones that haven't actually took physical control, they got mental control, like Jordan, those places. So they might as well have physical control. The only thing that's stopping them is Iran. And they know they got to get control before the devils get rid of us. Once they get rid of us, they're going to abandon them. And so they want to have the upper hand when that happens. You see where it's going? That's why they get America, knock all these countries down so they can take over them. So they take them over. So when they take them over, they have control of oil. America wouldn't dare bomb their oil. It went to oil. You wouldn't bomb the oil. They need that oil. They wouldn't bomb the oil. Plus they got nuclear weapons anyway. I mean, false who have nuclear weapons anyway. And so now they got the Europeans and America on their knees. That's their protection. That's why they're doing what they're doing. They run against the clock. Man, we got to get this before they get rid of them. Because they got to protect us as long as we provide cover for them. We the fake vision. They have to. You understand? So that's the dilemma. Because that's what America's plan was. That's why America was reluctant, because their plan is that once they get rid of us, they was going to let the Iranians take care of, abandon, let the Iranians take care of them, not the end of it. That's what's talking about. And then I believe they pull up their cover themselves with leave, but you don't understand that, so I'm not going to try to explain it. That's the dilemma they got. That's why they're doing what they're doing, because they've got to take control of the military. They know they got a time frame, right? Got a time limit. They got to do it before they get rid of us, and that means they plan to get rid of us, and they are. And I can prove it. See what I'm saying? That's what's going on right now. So they got to fall all in, and that's why this want them to take out Iran, because they can't do it. Once they do that, then they can take control of the whole Middle East, all of it. That's what's going on right now. That's why they're pushing America to go to war with Iran, because they can't take it out. And so now we in the process, that would trigger apocalypse. That's where we are now. Because now they are fighting. They got America finally got because America's involved in this too. They finally at war with Iran, and the purpose to take out Iran. That's the only obstacle, because nothing else can stand in their way if they take out Iran in the Middle East. That solves their problems, because I remember the devils. Because I mean, you look in their what they call that book. I forgot what the Jews call that book. Let me see. Talmud. It's called the Talmud. And in there, now they got the Christians. You say, why are the Christians backing these people? They hate our God. They crucify him. You used to call them Jew killers. No, not Jew. They used to call them Christ killers. That's what you used to call the Jews, Christ killers. Because they hate them. So why didn't they love them now? Because they know they're using them. Because, and the Jews hate the Christians. Because in their Talmud, that's another book they have, some book they say Jesus in hell burned his own shit. Don't take my word for it. They try to clean up now. But that's what they were saying. That's how they feel. So why they feel that? And but they still love each other right now. Because they love each other. They're a common enemy, us. Because they pretend they being us, And they guilty of enslaving us. Both of them are guilty of that. And persecuting us for 400 years. See the dilemma there? So they got a time frame, say pushing, because they also plan, it says they plan to get rid of us, but he said the plan would be, right, let's be, they said two ways, right? Anyway, what they mean is, right, is that do it in a way they won't see it coming. Do it in a way they don't see it coming. They said they planned a war against the true seed of Abraham, but plan in a way they won't see it coming. So that means they're doing the background. If all Israel knows about it, they said, man, we got to move before they get rid of them. If they get rid of them, then they're going to get rid of us. And Iran can do it. That's what's going on, brothers and sisters. Okay? So they're at war now. Okay? Because why? Because false sister wants the war because they want to take out Iran. They don't tell America that's why they want to do it. But America can't let, if false sister get the war with Iran, America's got to help Iran because they got to maintain that coal on that, they got to maintain that vision, that false vision. They got to help, because if false sister goes down, we get the vision. So that's why if false sister can make it move, America's got to support them. Because that's the only reason they're there, to keep us from getting a vision. They have a covenant, promise from God. See what I'm saying? That's the problem. And so false sisters want you to take out Iran. America don't want you to take out Iran because they want to use Iran to take out false sisters once they give it to us. That's the dilemma. So false, and Jews know they cannot take out Iran by themselves. That's like pushing the issue. As long as they need us, we're going to make them do our will. As long as these devils love us, as long as these Christians love us, they need us. Not love, as long as they need us, then I'm going to make them pay for it. I'm going to make them take out Iran. When I take out Iran, I got control of the whole Middle East. That's the story, brother and sister. That's it. There's no, I can't make it clearer than that. What happened? But see, the problem is that that's where we are right now. I told you, I've been telling you all week, it's only a couple of days away. I've been telling you all for months. I mean, it's not very, it's close. Even said this year. So here you go. So we're here right now in that war. And it's going to get worse because you understand what's generated. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Where, when you see Jerusalem summer armies, that's for us, they control Jerusalem, that's their capital. No, it's destruction. I mean, it's right there. It's going to be destroyed. And that's what's going on right now, brothers and sisters. What's going on? It's going to take a bad turn. American business is going to be kicked out of there. God can be God, just like I said, can be kicked out of heaven. Kicked out. Once they're kicked out, they're going to kicked out. And false Israel under siege and about to go down. And they see that they cannot save false Israel because they kicked out because Iran has total control of the Middle East. And they don't have a foothold of nothing in there. They have total control of it. So also, Iran has took control of it. And if false Israel and American Britain's kicked out, they had nobody to protect them. And then they put on the siege. And everything that they did, that's what Amalek is about revenge. They told me they're invoking Amalek. No, Amalek is going to happen to them as a result of what they did. It's like karma, consequence, but they got it all wrong. So they're going to suffer everything they've done to Palestinians. The Palestinians, they don't cover the food, they don't cover clothing, they're going to starve, they're going to die of thirst. It says the men will eat their sons, sons their fathers. They have drones flying all over, showing the whole world to act like camels and beasts that they are. That's what it's going to be. In a few more days. They'll be on the siege. American business cast out. When American business cast out, right? Then what happens? They go to war with all blacks. Because now they see that False Israel is about to be gone. And they can't protect it anymore. They can't protect it, can't go back to New Orleans to protect it. False Israel is going to cause havoc in America. Those people that call us also Jews, the synagogue say they're going to wreak havoc in America. I call it the plague of flies. I wrote about all the plagues where they met. They're going to go, because they're going to be angry because America going to go back over there and help False Israel. False Israel is going down. False Israel on Campbell and everything else. And the American president at the time, Trump won't go over there, sir. He ain't going over there. Come on, you got to help fight it. And they go crazy. And remember, they have all kinds of top positions in America and everything else. They're going to try to hurt the country. Trying to force Trump to go over there and try to rescue False Israel. It's under siege. Everybody's laughing at it. Starving to death. Great pain. Okay? That's what they do. So he will cause all kinds of mischief here, trying to get him to go, and he won't do it. Partly because Master Muhammad will be with them. He said Michael and his angels. Now I'm not getting detail about that, but he said he will be with them. You understand, brothers and sisters? So they're attacking us because now they realize False is going down. So they got to move, step with their plans and take us out. Quick. They attack us. Attack all blacks. Why I say when you see that happen to somebody, you flee, 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 flee. You see False Israel go down, flee right now. Don't think about it. If you got a baby in the house, don't go get it. Because you're going to get you and her killed. It's going to be that dramatic. Partly because you didn't listen to what I was telling you or you didn't prepare for it. So you don't see it. That's why shock of the hour. Until it's on you. Until the lion's got to your head and his mouth. And you hope he don't bite. That's right. That's the situation you're going to be in. You're going to have your head in the lion's mouth or up his ass. You can. So hope he don't mess around and do a curtsy, right? Or down yourself like that, break your neck or whatever. I'm saying. So now you're going to die from shock. I'm trying to avoid that. But that's what we are. So they're going to attack all blacks. The communists going to be shot, chapter 18. Be no food. Said they're going to go to cannibalism. And say you're 3/5 human. In their minds, it's okay to eat you because you're not really human. I mean, they eat cows, right? They eat calves, right? Well, you're 3/5 human, so they can eat you then. I imagine they eat gorilla too. So why not eat? That's what I said. You're going to be on attack. And I tell you, flee immediately. Flee immediately. And that's about to happen right now. They're in war right now. And that's where the demons are separated. Because that's when Moses comes down. The God sent him down because what? Because Aaron, Farrakhan, did not believe in the God anymore. He says it. You can't believe in him because he's flesh. So he sent Moses back there. I said, man, and plus he ain't following your teachers. That's what it says right there. Read it. So when Moses came down, he came down what? It was a sound of war. That's where we're in war right now. That's where we're in right now. Read it. It said, but when the sound of victory or defeat, so it's right now. And he went to Aaron's camp and went to Elijah, went to Farrakhan. That's his camp. And Farrakhan was blaming the people. He said, well, heck with that. So he said, those with the Lord, remember the ones seeking in chapter of Malachi? Come with me. So those came out. They came. And they went to the Lamb. They're with the Lord. And the rest, there was demons and whatever else. They stayed with Aaron. And then the ones that left Moses out, they was told to kill all the ones that was with Aaron, including Aaron. Because you know Aaron had to be in it. They don't say Aaron specifically, but they killed all his followers that stayed with him. And they said he don't make it to the promised land, so that was it. You understand, brothers and sisters? That's about to happen here. And then once then we separate the demons out. That's what it says in Legion. He said, well, play don't maybe leave the country. I don't want to leave with y'all. I don't want to leave with y'all. I'll stay here. So let me stay with the devils, the demons, the swine. Say go back quick, because remember, he's a demon. His father's the devil. That means he's the devil too. You are what your father is. You're black-faced devil. That's right. And so you get to fight with each other. That's the locust war. So I think I covered everything, brothers and sisters. I mean, I gave the basics. Why? Then I should explain why everything's happening like it's happening. And then, like I said, once that happens, that's when Armageddon starts. Because once they kicked America and Britain out of there, right, they run back to Europe. Right? Why does America run back to Europe? Because they got all these bases in Europe. And so they run back, hoping they can come back and get respite amongst their own bases, American bases. But at that point, no. Why? Because Europe, remember, it's totally dependent upon the oil in the Middle East. And now they don't have any because Iran's taken over and they penalize everybody that was helping with America. So now they have, the economy has collapsed, they have no oil. Because it puts it around. I'm glad they have no oil. Understand? Excuse me. So Iran's taking over. So now Europe, but Russia has plenty of oil. But their odds with Russia because of what America did. They didn't want to start the whole mess with Ukraine and everything else. They stopped that pipeline and all this stuff. And so so everybody's attacking Russia because of what America and Britain has done, God and make of. And so what happens? Europe says, okay. He said they would, America, you lose your lovers. He said, okay, if we with you, man. Because the communists failed. They were starving, no food, electricity, anything else. And Russia's right there. America couldn't give them food like they wanted to because if you can't ship food by planes, you send it by car, it should take a long time to get there. And plus, that's a whole nation that can fuel. They can't do that in a meaningful period of time. But Russia's right there in Europe. So Russia supplies them, right? So they turn on America. Right? That's really the only way they can survive, because America, even if America was to get, they couldn't do anything, they kept bringing oil there. So the witnesses, particularly Iran, has told the Middle East, cut them off. So then they allow Russia, and now they're attacking all American bases, and they're united with each other, and that's the Armageddon War. That's Armageddon War. Okay? What's the Armageddon War? What is it? Okay? That's the European War. America's kicked out in Europe. Remember, Europe is populated by people and animals. But you understand, that's what's going on. They at war amongst themselves. Europe is helping Russia attack America. America's got to try to save its bases, 10,000 or whatever, and they're getting destroyed. They ain't coming home. Maybe a few of them. They're destroyed. Remember, that's almost all the European power. America's the most powerful when they say. Almost all their power. And so what happens? Then China, India becomes, that's why it says the horns were shifted from, the crowns shift from the horns to the heads from the horns. You understand the key? Horns represents China and India. So now they become the world powers because the Europeans tear themselves apart. So if they win the war, they don't have anything because they tear themselves apart. They tear each other apart. They're trying to destroy all their military equipment and everything else because that's the war that's really raging. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. So now they become the world powers, and they remember everything the Europeans did to them. Because remember, Europeans, it was for the last 5 years, they was after everybody. They just the worst. You see what Trump doing with the tariffs, and they're exploiting people to take their lands and all this stuff, starting wars and everything else. So now it's time, like I say, chicken come on the roost. Now it's time to pay off your debt, and everybody wants revenge. So God, to make God European, the Orientals first to take them on over here in America. But but they take out Europe on the way over to America. See, they take out, not Europe, take out Britain. They take out Britain on the way. They attack America. The ram with the gold two horns. As far as it's on the siege, it's about to go. It's gone. They was hoping they would, right, raise us up, and we find out who we are. They didn't want that. But Foster's was there to make sure it doesn't happen. And Foster's gone, then it happens, and they can't. They know if you come together, that's a rallying cry. If all of us knew it was true Abraham, and then you'll know in a minute. Because that's what it says. During that time, it says, those with the Lord come with. It was a sign of war, but not a sign of victory or defeat. That's the same time that these were separated, the ancient days just set, thrones cast down. And this God's peace in all the world. And that's going to happen any day now. That's where we are right now, brothers and sisters. Then recap and close. Right now, the war's already started, the war of apocalypse, which is going to trigger Armageddon once American Britain is cast out in the Middle East. American Britain, God may God be cast out, but Britain's going to be stuck there. False Israel will be stuck there. They're going to be cast out. When they cast out, they're going to attack us because now they realize that false Israel is about to go down. And that means they're not true to Abraham. And once we see it, we have a common vision. If we have a common vision, then we've been in trouble for them. They lose control of us. And we're the gold and silver that enriches this country. You understand, brother and sister? Hope you understand. So they have to attack you to keep that from happening. That's what's going on. So the war goes on, war starts. It started. War started already. In the Middle East, Persians take out Iran. The false Israel agenda, because they need to take out Iran, so they take control of the whole Middle East. America doesn't really want to take out Iran because they want to use Iran to take care of. As far as Israel, once they took care of us. So right now, it's scheming to take care, knock us out of the picture, while we mesmerized by as false ID, false Israel. We mesmerized by that. Okay? So that price takes us out before we can see our vision, as long as that false vision is sitting up there. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. That's why they do what they're doing. That's why they do what they're doing. And that's why false sisters don't do what it's doing, because they need to gain power before they get rid of us. So they won't get rid of them. They still hate each other. But they unite to take us out. That's what's happening. And what's happening is that America and UK will be defeated. False Israel in a short time. False Israel will be on the siege. American Britain will attack all blacks. There and here. To my England, Britain, and here. Attack all. Suleiman will come to NOI. If he's changed, let's change it. But lately, I'm kind of ambiguous. Well, I'm kind of uncommitted. But that's when he will come to NOI and let them know what's going on. Preparing for a tribulation. This going to happen very soon. And it says those with Farrakhan, those over there, that's seeking for the message of covenant, they're going to come to me. I ain't going to them. They come to me. And if you, since it started, they can call me any day now. Now, without answering, that's a whole different story. They don't call me any day because the war started. Apocalypse has started. And so, what you should be doing, brothers and sisters, if you listen to this program, if you listen to this all, it's a win-win situation for you. And you knew to do it immediately. It's a win-win situation. Go out and get all the food that you can get, at least a month, at least a week or 2 weeks supply. Food you'll need to cook and you'll need to refrigerate. Raisins, tuna, whatever, chips. at least 2 weeks supply, because this war is going to suddenly go south. American business kicked out. That's going to cause havoc in the world economy. Major food shortage, then no food at all. And that food shortage is going to cause astronomical prices for gas and food. And so it'll get so bad that people pay thousands of dollars just for pig shit. I mean, not pig shit, bird shit. That's how scarce food's going to be. And then no food. When there's no food, then you become the food. It says, be careless, it's going to rain. That's going to happen here, this year. So, if you can, go out and buy it. And don't let anybody know you have it. Hide it. Food you don't have to cook or refrigerate, don't have a smell to it. At least 2 weeks while there's still food there. It's a win-win situation. If nothing happens, you still got the food. You still would eat it. So what happens, you had a gain, because in a few more days, when they start seeing, those things about to reverse. Just a little math here. Well, I don't know, it might be too complicated for you, right? But if you have a steel ball and a ceramic ball collide with enough force, the steel ball might bend, dent, but the ceramic ball is going to crack. But see, it won't crack as fast as the egg cracks, because the egg crack, because it's different structure. Different structures take longer for the cracks to show. Depends on how great the structure is. Right? So, but every reaction has an opposite reaction. So if that collides, there's going to be a reaction. That's force involved. Since it hit that steel ball, it's going to be a reaction to it. The reaction is going to be the force directed back at it. But can it withstand that force? Can the structure withstand that force? See, you drop an egg, it hit that. If you drop from a tall building, if you drop it behind a building, it'll put a hole in the concrete. If you see 100 stories high, it'll come out with enough force to put a crack in that concrete. But then, the same force hit that concrete with, the same force going to be affecting it, because every reaction has an opposite reaction. But can an egg withstand that kind of force? No. It's still be an egg, but it'll be scattered all over the place. It changes structure, because the structure cannot withstand that force. It'll still be an egg, it'll just be a different structure now, because the structure could not withstand that force they hit with. And that's what's happening right now, because Florida Israel hit Iran, and now there's going to be a consequence to that. Now the problem is, how long will you see that consequence? And will that structure be able to maintain itself under that kind of force that they created? You understand? So again, that comes apart. So there'd be a lot of Jews running around. They just want to be a government because the structure couldn't withstand it, or whatever. It's like, here you are. You weigh 200 pounds, 100 pounds, and you up against somebody. This Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? You weighing 300 pounds, right? Okay. But you went to the gym, so you got a strong punch, man. You got a hard punch. So you punch him, bam, hard as you can, right? And he might back up a little bit, right? But he punched you with the same power that you punch him with. Now you've been going to the gym, you got a good punch, but can your body withstand that? You didn't build your body up. So now you land on the ground with broken ribs, everything else is still you. Your form just could withstand that punch that you started with. You just return your punch back, but you couldn't withstand it. You understand that concept? That's what you're seeing right now. Every reaction has an opposite reaction. And they're going to attack us too, but they're going to withstand the reaction of attacking us. Because the reaction of attacking us would be what? Ooh, double to what they did. Ooh. What does that mean? You see what I'm saying? Because since they're so much weaker, that's another way of looking at it. But I said they're so much weaker than us that the impact seems double as what we did to them. Because we iron and they porcelain. So when they attack us, right? Can they withstand the force? Can their structure withstand the force that they apply against us? We can withstand it. They might put it in us. We can stand it. But they gotta, when you hit, actually when the egg hits the ground, right? Remember it's that the force is the same force is affecting it. He's the one hitting the ground. You hit somebody, you feel it, don't you? You feel it. That's the reaction that you feel it. It hurt, man. You hit them, but you hurt too. Hope you understand that concept, brothers and sisters. So, because the reaction, it says reaction in the Bible, it'll be a whirlwind. So they're going to push it, the king of the north, the king will come out of a whirlwind. And that's where we are right now. So I'm telling these things before they happen, brothers and sisters. Do something for yourself. Go out and get that food. Don't hesitate. And keep your eyes open. Because once falsehoods go down, you're going to realize the vision, then you're going to come together. But you need somebody to tell you where to come together at. That's what the message of coming is. He's going to be that light that you're going to see, you're going to come to it. You're going to know where it is. See? That's you out there. That's not part in this Islam, but they're going to come to me. But you're going to come to them. Or they're going to come and get you. Either way. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. That's what's going on here. That's where we are right now. Right now, the war started. These things going to happen just like that. Bam, 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 bam. So pay attention. Hope you come in the shock of the hour. But it's all about you. All this going on right is about you. I ain't go to the whole story. I ain't tell you about Arabia. See, because that's our land. Remember, that's our land. That's where it says. And so they pay Farrakhan to tell you, you ain't going nowhere. They don't want you to have a vision either. Because that means they have to deal with you. Because when you go over there, that's the force that you're going to apply against them. And they're not going to withstand. They're going to be able to withstand? No. That's our land. And we're going to take it back. And when they build my stuff building over there, it says, in my father's house and many mansions. It says, when you go home, you go to houses you have not built. Saudi Arabia is not going to be destroyed. Iran is not going to destroy Saudi Arabia when they take control of it. All that's the building is building for you. See, it's our land. And so they don't know they're building for you. So when you go home, you have nice castles and mansions and everything else to live in. Hope you understand, bro. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. Understand. Understand the math of it. Because everything's about to backfire. So for us to hit Iran with opposite reaction, but can they withstand the reaction? When Iran's made of steel and they made it of porcelain. They think they made of steel. This happened very quick, but so we talking about 2 months, and where's Farrakhan at? He's supposed to be the watchman. How can he be quiet? Everything's happening because he don't know. He's a liar. He said Armageddon started 3 years ago, right? You seen Armageddon? Oh, Ukraine? No, because he don't know what you're talking about. So they said God told him he's a liar. He's lying on God. He's lying anyway. We ain't going to well because they're calling God a liar. So where's he at? Where's Mr. Farrakhan? Oh, God told him be quiet. Really? You don't know. But he's going to be cast down in a minute. Cast down, cast out. Hope you understand, brother. Says, Assalamu alaikum.